Hello, everyone. Derek Floyd here, Beautiful Now Podcast. Welcome to another edition of Chasing the Impossible. This is the segment where I interview special guests who seem to have accomplished impossible things on their journey to the dream of their success. And we want to let you know that no matter what your dream is, you can accomplish yours too. Now, if you enjoy the content you see here, please hit us with a like or subscribe so we can make sure we get you the most updated content as soon as it's available. And if you really like it, then hit us with a big share. Share with a friend so that everybody can leave the world uplifted, encouraged, and inspired. And as always, our segment is brought to you and powered by IK Multimedia and Lewitt Microphones. Now, today's special guest is actually someone that I've admired for a very long time. A jazz artist, but more, a songwriter, a producer, a pianist. He's a drummer, even a trombone player. And he's worked within genres from R&B to hip-hop to funk to, of course, smooth jazz and everything in between. This man has accomplished a ton. As a matter of fact, he just released his 20th record. 20 records, guys. So he's been around making music for all of us to really enjoy. And I think you're going to really enjoy his story. So will you please help me welcome my good friend, Mr. Brian Culbertson. Brian, you there, buddy?
What's happening, Derek? How you doing, man?
Man, look at that setup, man. You making me feel bad over there. What's going on?
I don't know, man. This is my little, my little studio situation. It's all good.
Look like it's the away from home, like a little luxurious little pad, chilling out.
Man, it's like the French boudoir. I don't know what's going on. You gotta have a vibe, man, when you're making records, you know?
You gotta have a vibe, man. Are you staying safe, washing hands, stay away from this COVID madness?
Man, I don't leave this room. I get on my bike about once a day, and then I'm here. I'm cool.
Now, but you're making music, so you're not touring, though, so you're staying home, so you're being safe.
Right. I got no choice. I got nowhere to go, man. Where are we gonna go? I'm streaming, I'm making records, and, that's about it.
Well, you're doing it all, brother, and we sure do appreciate you. Thank you for taking a few minutes just to stop by and talk to the subscribers, man. It means a lot.
My man.
So let's jump on in, man. When did you actually discover that you had the gifting for music in general, like a full-blown gifting for that?
I was able to visit someone's studio. They had a home studio where I grew up in Illinois, and I got to go over and visit their studio, and I was blown away because he let me kind of program a whole track from start to finish. I was just kind of messing around with random pop songs of the day. I was about 12 years old, and so I go over to this cat's house, and he had a very basic setup, like a 4-track recorder, a drum machine, a DX7, and this and that. But I was able to layer all the parts for the very first time. And to me, creating a track from scratch and finishing it and leaving it with a cassette tape blew my mind. I was like, what? I had no idea. And from that moment on, I was, like I said, I was about 12 years old. I knew that was my path.
So you knew at 12 you were gifted to play music. That was it. That was before everything else.
Absolutely, yeah. Prior to that, I was taking more traditional classical piano lessons, and like many kids, I didn't love that. I wasn't into that. But once I started kind of making my own tracks and then started writing my own music, that's when I got excited about it.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I know that you play multiple instruments, like the drums or even the trombone, I remember. And, was piano always the first passion, or were you interested in something else more so before then?
Piano started it all, but then I was kind of curious about a lot of different things. The following year, I started piano at about 8 years old. The next year, I took up drum set lessons just because I thought it was fun. The following year, it was 5th grade, so I wanted to join the 5th grade band. So there's no piano in the band, and the drum parts for 5th grade band were really rudimentary. At that point, I was already playing along with Earth, Wind & Fire and Toto records, right?
What?
So I was like, well, I don't want to do that. So they're like, well, why don't you try all the instruments out and see which one you could just sort of play. And I tried them all. I tried flute, sax, trumpet, and then I picked up the trombone, and for some reason I could just sort of play it. It was weird. I had this natural ability on it. So first day I'll never forget, I played for about 3 hours straight, and my lips swelled up. Get out the ice pack. But I was so excited about it. I didn't care, you know.
Oh, wow. That's madness, man. Who
After
knew,
that, what's that?
I said, who knew you were a trombone player, though, right? We know you as this amazing pianist artist, but you were a trombone player.
Well, believe it or not, I was mainly a trombone player through high school and even through college. People knew me more as a trombone player. They didn't even know I played piano back in college because I did all my gigs on trombone. Wedding bands, funk bands, corporate gigs, whatever we were doing, and jazz ensemble. So when I came out with my first record, it was all piano-based. Everyone in Chicago was like, what? What is this? Where's your trombone? They're like, oh, yeah, I was a closet piano player.
So nobody even knew.
My passion all along was making tracks and writing. So.
Well, that's cool, man. And see, I'm learning about you already. I didn't even know. We're always thinking you start off on piano. You know, you started with playing a little bit, and that's how you graduated to this whole thing. But you started on your trombone. How killer is that? So as you grew up then, playing all these multiple instruments, drums, trombone, piano, so on, and making tracks, who were your main influences that kind of got you going in that direction?
Early on, I was listening to, a lot of the fusion kind of records. So Chick Corea Electric Band, the Yellow Jackets, the Brecker Brothers, Jeff Lorber Fusion.
Love Jeff.
That kind of thing. Yeah, exactly. And then as well as the horn band, Chicago, Earth, Wind, and Fire, that kind of thing. Tower of Power. So those kind of two schools I was way into. David Sanborn, Marcus Miller, that whole thing. So what I would do is, especially when I was in high school, I'd be listening to my favorite records and try to recreate those productions with the tools that I had. Of course, I never really came close, but I was trying to, make it sound like the Chick Corea record. Impossible, because that was all, mostly live instruments, but I was trying to program drums and sound like Dave Weckl.
Which is crazy to do, man, because that boy's a beast. He's a beast.
But I guess I was honing my skills on how to program and how to produce, and I was just kind of learning by listening and trial and error. So, because I never had a teacher on that per se.
So when did music then go from I just enjoy doing this, I love it, I love playing, making tracks, to I want to be an artist for real, I want to make my living doing this? When did that transpire?
There was kind of a transition. I didn't set out to be an artist per se early on. I knew that I wanted to be a songwriter and a producer of some sort. Also thought about, the movie industry, film scoring, and that. So I was kind of focused more on that. And then when I was in college, my second year, I decided to do a demo of 3 songs, instrumental songs. In Chicago, there's a radio station, or there was a kind of a smooth jazz radio station that was really big back in the early 90s when I was going to school. And so I'd be listening to that and be like, man, I could do that. I don't know. So, that's what I did. I put together 3 songs, and I sent it to, I knew one person in LA, one person. And I wasn't really setting out to be an artist. I was just like, I want to make music and write and produce. But I sent these songs to this guy, Bud Harner. I've told this story to other people. And he loved them. And I said, man, Brian, these are really good. I'm going to play them for my label. He worked at a small indie label called Mesa Blue Moon Records, which was eventually sold later to Atlantic, yada, yada. But they dug it, and 2 weeks later, I had a record deal. I was 21 years old.
Whoa!
Second year in college, freaking out.
Whoa!
Really, I didn't even try, really.
So you weren't even really looking for it. You just wanted someone to check out your music. You thought, I can make this work. I'm going to send it to my buddy.
Like, well, let me just do 3 songs and see if this guy that I knew liked him or not. Because I would randomly send him tracks over the years when I was in high school. He was a family friend. I knew him for a long time. He had been in the business a long time. He used to play drums for Barry Manilow and Paul Anka and various other people, but decided to kind of settle down and started working at this label. He had worked for 2 or 3 labels, I think, at that point, and was always encouraging and said, "Hey, Brian, keep working on your songs." And so finally, I sent him something that he was like, "Oh, that sounds pretty good." And those 3 songs ended up being part of my first album, the Long Night Out CD.
And that's the one I always tell you that I listened to Another Long Night Out more than anything. Sure. I just love the reproductions of it, but the songs were top notch from the get. So how interesting is it that those first few songs brought you to where you are now, which is awesome. Awesome to hear that. That's crazy, man. That's crazy. Mm-hmm. And you weren't even really pursuing it, which is just like you were doing it for the love of music. You wanted someone to check it out. You wanted to play. You wanted to write. You wanted to produce. So how wonderful was it that you weren't just trying to find and pursue it, but you got there on just the love of the music?
Yeah, because we've heard so many people's stories of, oh man, I was chasing that record deal for years, and I had these other gigs, and I was a sign man over here, and then I sold insurance for a while, or whatever it was.
Exactly.
Wow. I really never had that. I never played piano for any other artist. I was never a side guy, only because I was in college playing in the college band, and then I did this. It just happened.
Was your family super encouraging when you said, "I want to go play music forever," or were they like, "Oh, I don't know, you're crazy"?
Yeah, absolutely. Thankfully.
Wow. Well, yeah. Well, fast forward from there to now, and you've released your 20th album recently. Whoa, 20 records, bro. Big double X. That's pretty impressive. That's a great achievement. Oh. I mean, what brings you to the creative space now still after 20 records? How do you stay creative?
To me, it's just sitting in the studio, getting inspired by... I kind of get inspired in various ways. One of the ways I still get inspired is sitting at my computer and just scroll through sounds. And a particular sound will just peak or spark an idea, which turns into a whole song. So that I've been that way a long time. Other things have happened randomly. I did this album called Winter Stories, where I was walking around Chicago in Christmas time a couple of years ago, and I got inspired by the smell, the feel of the air, and the crunch of the snow, and that whole vibe. So I started writing that. One record was called Dreams, and I was seriously waking up daily with really vivid dreams with music in them and remembering some of the music. So I would go to the studio first thing in the morning and try to, jot it down, get it down.
Wow.
That hasn't happened since. Only happened for a short period.
Hey, it only comes when it comes. There you go.
I mean, so I've always kind of been, I sort of go with what I feel in the moment. I don't plan far in advance in terms of what kind of record I'm making. I just go with, hey, what do I want to do right now? And I'm not trying to chase the fans or radio or whatever I think people want. I'm just kind of going from the heart, and I think that's all we can do,
Are you a melody first person? Do you hear the melody first, or do you kind of, because you said you hear a sound? It's last. Wow.
Yeah, typically I'll create a whole track,
like a groove.
I'll produce a track. Drums, bass, keys, strings, clavinet, effects, this and that. And then once I have this really fleshed out kind of foundation of a song, then I'll start playing my piano over the top of it. That's when the melodies come. Get
out. I mean, a lot of songwriters I know start with melody first and then work through. Right. You work the other way. That's cool, man.
Yeah.
That is craziness.
I mean, again, so a couple times I've heard a melody and then fit to it, but that's rare for me.
Well, you've been creating music obviously for a long time, I call you a genre bender because you've been from R&B to hip hop. You do a little bit of everything, a little jazz. I mean, you take it all together. Funk, of course, one of your favorites. Did a whole record with funk. Which genre do you think would probably be the classic Brian C? Or are they all Brian C? But is there one that goes, this is where I sit just comfy?
I mean, for the hardcore fans that have been with me a long time, once I go into kind of a medium, kind of sexy groove, so to speak, piano comes in smooth on top. That's probably right in the middle for, anyone's within one bar. They can be like, oh, that's Brian, I think. I don't know. Ask them.
I mean, for me, it's the smooth piano, but that's what I love about you most. I play that probably more than anything. I love all the other stuff, but when I put on Brian C, like not knowing you, but then play the records, I'll put on the ones with the piano that sits up front and takes me there. Go. So that's what I think Brian C is. But you got your own version of it,
No, I think that makes sense, and I only experiment with these other genres because like I said, I'm always kind of curious about doing other things. I get bored. I want to try other things. Definitely don't want to be in a box either. So it's opened doors for me that have been really cool. Gotten on different kinds of festivals that I wouldn't necessarily have been on if I would have just stayed straight down the middle, smooth piano. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, it's been cool. And, I honestly love doing it all. Let's face it. I love it all. I get excited about everything. Nothing that goes on one of my records I'm not excited about, if that makes sense.
That's cool, man. Mm-hmm. Well, you've also been accepted by the African American community at large. NAACP awards, Soul Train awards. And that's not always easy to cross those barriers, cross those genres, and cross those racial barriers. Has that always been an easy transition for you, or was it difficult early on as you started to create your music and get it placed in those certain places?
I didn't necessarily think about it. I just was making music and sort of went with whatever I was feeling. I really didn't set out to say, hey, I want to cross into other areas and do that. I just wanted to make music that I liked, and to me, if other people end up liking it, that's a bonus. To me,
that's awesome.
I first and foremost make music for myself, because I would do that regardless if this was my career or not. Because I think we all start off by doing music because we love it, not because we're making money from it. Of course, it turns into that because you got to pay bills.
You got to eat, bro. You got to eat.
You got to eat. You got to, buy some things. But but again, I would do it even if I wasn't getting anything for it. I just love it, and if people, whomever likes it, it's a bonus.
That's cool. I love it. I love it.
I certainly haven't gone rock and roll, or I haven't done other things, so I'm still within some sort of a
you still got some parameters in there somewhere.
I got parameters, yeah.
But even with that, I mean, you built a very loyal and very diverse fan base, which is incredible. So that's for anyone, that's a big accomplishment. So congratulations on that space by itself.
Thank you.
Why do you feel your music resonates with so many different people? Why do you feel like it touches so many people?
I mean, I can't speak for other people, but all I know is I try to create music that touches inside of you. I always want a really deep feeling when you're listening to the music. And that has to do with the chord structures I'm using, the melodies that I'm composing, and also the sounds that I'm using. If I'm not feeling it deep on a deeper level, I know something's not right, and I'm going to fix it and change it so that when you put on a song of mine, you're like, ooh, it's hard to explain exactly. We all know there's kind of bubblegum pop music, and that's not really making you feel anything. It maybe make you dance or whatever, and that's fun. But I sort of want to go deeper than that, and so that's where I've been.
And that translates in music, which is amazing. And I can echo and say it definitely translates for me, because when I listen to certain songs, I put it on, and I especially like Winter Story, something like that. I'm relaxing.
Right.
It just takes me to that space, and I can just close my eyes and go there.
Mm-hmm.
You are also a very consummate performer. When you're out on stage, you give your 100%. You give a great concert. People come from all over to see you. How has it been with COVID, with you being able to connect with your fans? Because that's part of your draw. You connect with your fans in such a great way when you give a concert. So how's COVID adjusted all that for you?
Well, I was on my way to the airport on March 13th when everybody got the announcement, and whole tour canceled.
Whole tour gone.
Whole tour. I had 70 shows on the books from March through the end of June, promoting the latest album, 20. It's called the 20 Tour. We were going all over the States on a bus, 6 nights a week, different city every night. Full production. I mean, yeah.
Wow.
So, I lost some money there.
Yeah, just a little bit. Wow.
Yeah. But, I just started basically streaming once a week. I had been streaming randomly over the past 4 or 5 years. I called it the Friday night studio hang.
Okay.
So if I had ever been in the studio on a Friday night, which was kind of rare because I was always touring, I would just go live with my iPhone, like so many people. Hey, what's up, people? Here's what I'm working on, right?
Right.
So once this hit, I was like, well, let me just go every Friday night. And so each Friday, I would go on, just play some tunes for people, and you're like, hey, everyone's like, hey, thanks for doing this, because your tour's canceled. I had tickets. Yeah. And then progressively each week, I was getting annoyed with the lack of kind of overall quality, sound quality. When you go on your phone, it's in mono audio.
Yeah.
Never good. Low, resolution, the whole night. Yeah. So I slowly started kind of researching, okay, how do you stream a real looking show? And in the beginning, I must admit, it was just overwhelming and super daunting because there was a massive list of gear to first buy and then understand and how to hook up and then run it all.
Because, by yourself.
By yourself. In the streaming game, it's one person operations. There's no TV studio here. It's one person.
Yeah.
Hitting all these. I use this little stream deck thing. Anyway, so thankfully it's turned into quite a situation to where everybody is tuning in every Friday night. So even fans that didn't necessarily have tickets to the tour are now watching every single Friday night. So it's like I have a massive theater coming to see me every Friday, bigger than the venues that I was even going to be playing,
Wow.
So it's kind of an interesting, cool thing that's happened.
Well, the hang, which I've watched, of course, multiple times, has your personality for sure, has your flair. You're definitely being you the entire time. But you brought in wine, you're bringing in special guests. I mean, did you see that vision from the beginning, or did this just evolve into, man, this could be pretty fun, let me take it all the way there?
Yeah, initially, when I was just doing my phone, of course not. It was just about very, very casual. Hey, what's up? Just a little studio tour. Let's set the phone over there, and then it'd fall over, and then, here, look at this piece of gear, and okay, here's a song I'm working on. So, but once I decided to flip the switch and say, okay, let me make a real looking show, that's when in my mind I decided to, let's make it a real formatted show too, with, like I said, interviews, wine tasting things, and segmented. And, I really took cues from the late night talk shows, in essence. There's a theme song in the beginning. There, it has all these elements, the monologue, the this and that. So it just made sense to me.
Wow.
Yeah.
So
now that we have the technology, why not? I thought to myself. I edit all the videos on iMovie. I do all the graphics in Photoshop. I'm doing the website. I do everything, I have a handful of people that are helping me on certain things. Of course, my managers are helping out greatly with connecting with other talent and helping with song licenses. And, there's a whole lot of other things to deal with. But on the creative side, I'm doing the majority of it myself, which is really fulfilling. But I don't know how sustainable that is once I go back on tour.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Will you go back to this once COVID's over and you're able to hit the road? Will this still be a part of what you do?
It will be. It'll just be different when I'm on the road. Maybe it'll be just a different format. But I guarantee you, when I'm back off the road again, I'm gonna be streaming on Friday nights still. So this is a new part of what I do, and I love it. And the fans are really reacting to it. So why not?
I love it. And I'm told that you're like one of the top 10 Facebook events that come on every Friday. Like a number 6, I think, on the Polestar. So congratulations.
Yeah, a couple weeks ago. We hit top 10. It was amazing.
Like what? That's awesome, man.
Yeah, I mean, the fans are awesome. They're so supportive. I even have a smaller group of fans that have joined, I call it the Hand Club, which is, I started a Patreon. So people can, I say, do you want to hang out more? So I actually stream Mondays and Wednesdays as well for Patreon folks at different tiers, and got lots of different things, if people are interested. But, the Friday night's always a free show live on Facebook. So, everybody tunes in for that, which is a lot of fun.
And that's at what time?
5 p.m. Pacific, 8 p.m. Eastern. Or
Nice.
If you're in Japan, Saturday morning.
There it is.
I always see them in the chat room, right? It's crazy. They're like, good morning.
You're like, what? Good morning? What? And your whole unique personality, your charisma, your flair, like with the hair, the whole nine, was that always you coming in even when you were younger, or did you kind of develop into this persona that you do when you're out there?
Well, in the beginning, I was definitely a reluctant performer on stage. I was more of a studio guy. I could control everything in the studio. Once you go on stage, it's like, anything can happen. It's disasters happen on stage. So I was really nervous. I was shy. But, over the years...
shy? No way.
I was in the beginning.
No way.
My girlfriend at the time, we've been married a long time now, she was always like... She was an opera singer, so she was very much a performer. So she would always get on me for like, okay, Brian, you got to look at the audience and talk to them and engage. I was like, I don't know. Bending down, playing the piano on the side of the stage, so, but, slowly it just evolved. The more you do it, the more comfortable you get, and the more songs of mine ended up being played on radio. Therefore, the fans knew the songs. When you're first touring, no one knows who the hell you are. They don't know any of your music, so they're looking at you like,
yeah.
We paid to see the headliner and you're opening, you're wasting our time. You know what I'm saying? So it's very tough in the beginning, really hard. But now, I love it, of course. It's great fans out there, and they're so passionate. They love the music, and
that's awesome, man.
What more could he ask for?
What has there been anybody that you were really, really fanboyed out about that you got to either play with or got to meet now that you've become an artist?
Of course, being in the studio with Maurice was unbelievable.
Oh, wow.
He co-produced one of my albums.
That had to be an amazing moment.
Pinch myself every morning when he called me up. hey, Brian, I'm outside. Let me in. You know, that kind of stuff. It's Maurice White is calling me. This is crazy. You know, when Stevie Wonder walked out on stage during one of my shows and sat in and busted out his harmonica, I mean, that just blew everyone away. Getting a call on a random Tuesday afternoon from Elton John saying he likes one of your albums.
No.
I mean, various things like this have happened over the years, and that I've been so thankful for, and, you know, people that I've obviously looked up to my whole life. And that's the power of music. You never know who's listening. I'll get notes from random people all over the place, you know, regular people to random celebrities. You know, I was at the Hollywood Bowl and get a note from Harrison Ford. Hey, he wants to meet you. You know, it's just like random stuff happens.
Wow.
It's like, okay.
Wow.
I mean, it's cool.
Is that how you met Sinbad?
Sinbad, I met Sinbad probably backstage at a festival. You know, he emceed a lot of jazz fests over the years, and he'd always be hanging out right on the side of the stage, watching everybody. You know, he loves music, loves funk, loves jazz, the whole nine. So I think it was Cap Jazz or one of the West Coast whichever one. You know, he did a lot of them. We would just randomly run into each other side of the stage, and then he'd watch the show. I'd come off stage and I'm like, man, you know, do his thing. So we just slowly kind of, you know, started chatting now and then, and with texts or whatever. When I was working on one of my records many years ago, I just told him, I was like, hey man, I'm in the studio with Chuck Brown right now. Come over. And he came over. Like, boom, you know. So from that moment on, you know, that was the 12 record where he was on the song "Feeling It."
Yeah, and he had his guitar.
Hey, Brian,
I bring my guitar. I laugh every single time I hear it.
Can I play? I'm like, I don't know.
And you're like, and at the end, he's like, I brought my bike. Somebody take me home. That's hilarious.
I still owe him $25. Yeah.
Oh man, you have lived an incredible life through your music, and you're not even close to being done. And if you could talk to you could say the one last thing as you have chased what you might have been impossible. It wasn't impossible for you. It just seemed to fall into place. But the person I know that's just learning to play, that just wants to play because he loves it, what would be the thing you tell him to say, hey, you can make that happen? What would you tell him to do?
Man, it's the thing is, to me, it's always been about staying true to what you feel is good music to you. Don't chase anyone else's ideas of what music should be. Play music, I said it earlier, from your heart, and it will be authentic. Be authentic. I hate it when I hear records that are clearly inauthentic. And what I mean by that is they're just following the trends, doing what they think will get on radio, you know. And it's like, that's not going to stand the test of time. You know, if you do something that there's real feeling and real passion in it, I think people will respond more to it, and you'll have some longevity to it. And also something that I remember Bud Harner, who got me my first deal. He always told me, Brian, it's about a compelling melody. If you can write a melody that can stick in people's heads, that's key.
Wow.
So really, really focus on the melodies. Make sure you can sing along and remember those. And you want those catchy hooks that people like will get mad at you late at night when they're trying to sleep. Damn it, this song won't get out of my head.
Oh man, I sure do appreciate you sharing your story. As always, you know, here Chasing the Impossible, you want to let people know that whatever their dream is, it is possible, and you have walked through a wonderful story And I just, again, want to continue to enjoy your music. And if the people want to reach out to you, what's the best way to connect with you as a fan? Do they go on Facebook, or how do they say, hey, we appreciate you?
I mean, of course, I'm on Facebook at Brian Culbertson Official. That's where I stream my The Hang Show every Friday night. Also on Twitter, IG, and I got a big YouTube following as well. And then my regular website is just brianculbertson.com. So,
well, you heard it here first, guys. Let's keep giving Brian support. He's been an amazing artist for so long, giving us great music. I myself been a big fan. So continue to support the real artists, the real music that people are making out there. Because right now during COVID, we need it. We need the artists to continue to create. And Brian's one of those artists that's always been able to bring us something of quality content, something that we can really hang on to. So again, Brian, thank you so much for being here, a part of it.
Thank you.